If you haven't done so today, let this be your invitation or reminder to take a moment for yourself. Take a breath and make it a deliberately deep one. And notice how much further into your body you're able to breathe than you may otherwise be doing, and how good that feels. And consider making more time for things like that. Now, part of the reason I enjoy making these videos is because for a large part of my adult life I've been prone to inaction, and I've alluded to it before in other videos about being stuck, considering myself a stuck person because I haven't known what to do. And I would say if there's a reason I've used for not doing many things in life, it's because I've said to myself over and over again, I just don't know. And what's funny is that none of us really know what the next moment has in store. We think we do because we have a catalogue of experiences from previous moments which causes us to look forwards in the direction of the things we've already experienced, but really none of us know what's coming up. And when something comes up that we aren't prepared for, that doesn't have a point of reference in our minds, often it catches us so off guard that it's quite disturbing. So part of me being out in nature is, I think of it as an act of surrender, essentially. I never really know what's going to come out, and I don't premeditate these videos, and that may sound strange, but I do that because, well, human beings don't speak from scripts typically. Human beings speak from what's in here or what's in here, and the type of work I'm involved in involves me being rooted in here, maybe with a bit of this as a point of reference. And so having a script is really effective if I'm perhaps trying to impart some very specific information to you, but these videos are more about conveying feelings and emotions. And information has a purpose, but I would say it's secondary. So I'm outside. I can't use the reason of not knowing. And also, ironically, I don't know. And the more of that I do, the more I benefit. So there's also kind of a selfish motivation for me doing this as well. Selfishness isn't a bad thing as I see it, because if I don't take time for me to fill up my own cup or to put my oxygen mask on first, then how can I help anyone else do the same? But when I've done that, if I continue to keep focusing on myself, then that's when selfishness turns into what I think of as self-centeredness, and maybe that's not quite as constructive. And when I watch these videos back, when I'm editing them, I realise how much I say that I may not consciously be thinking. I may not have previously realised. And also, from time to time, I'll watch the videos back and I think, oh, that's not very nice. That angle's a bit strange, or that colour's a bit strange, or the noise is a bit strange. And I'll be very critical on myself. But as the process goes on, that voice has diminished. So for anyone out there who wants to find a quick way to get over themselves, go grab a camera and record yourself and then watch yourself back until you get the point that actually maybe you do know more than you realise. And maybe that the things that you have to say are worth saying because there's someone out there who's a step behind you, or is walking the same steps but hasn't found the words yet, or doesn't even realise that there's a different set of steps to be able to take. I love coming out to these new places because it gives me a different perspective as well. And when you have lots of time on your hands, as I currently do, and maybe I shouldn't say that, but that's the truth, I do find that at times it's easy to slip into familiar habits, not necessarily constructive, and that by going out of my comfort zone, into the unknown, going somewhere I haven't been before, that it does illuminate things, put things into perspective for me that I otherwise probably wouldn't have seen. And actually that's really, really valuable. Because the second we start getting stuck in perspectives, the second we start to adopt a very fixed view of the world, and it's a fixed view of the world that causes so many of us to suffer because, well, the body is prone to time, aging. Occasionally from time to time we get sick. The people that we love either move on from our lives or they move on from this life in general. And we have to face these things. And if we have a perspective that says, no, I absolutely can't or won't deal with that, then, well, it becomes an enormous struggle when it inevitably happens, which it will. So, think of these moments as invitations. Think of these moments where you may be watching me, where it's an invitation for you to listen to yourself. Because I'm not saying anything you probably haven't heard before, and maybe if I am, that's fantastic, but it's more, I want to invite you into a space where you have the permission to consider different things, where you have the permission to reflect on your life or yourself and the things you believe or the choices you're making, and maybe a different set of choices will emerge, a different perspective will emerge, and it may just move the needle slightly enough for you to make the progress that you want to make, or to identify the progress that you want to make. Both are very useful. And that also makes it very hard for me to articulate the type of work that I do with people anyway, because, well, I'm not teaching you anything. I'm not sharing anything with you that you don't intuitively know at some level. I'm just giving you some space and perhaps a few small pointers to remember that. Because after all, you have access to no more or less potential than I do, and none of us do. There's no competition here. It's not like you need to see me or anyone else as further ahead or behind than you. We're just simply viewing what we have through the lens of a different perspective, and some of our perspectives enable us to realize that potential more readily, and others may take some gentle coaxing. And some of us need a loving push, all right? But all of them, wherever we are, whatever perspective we hold, we have access to just as much as everybody else. And my hope is that through watching these videos, you gain a glimpse into that. And a glimpse starts to become an enlarged sense of possibility, and then an enlarged sense of possibility transforms into an inevitability, which ultimately transforms into reality. It has to. And that's the value of continued looking and continued exploration, and that's why these things are a journey, really. And I say it's a journey of becoming, and it's not becoming something more than you already are. It's becoming conscious of the fact that you are already whole, and then allowing that realization to spread into your entire life, and integrate and adjust accordingly. And I'm no exception to that either. So I hope you continue to join me for this journey, and that the reflections you gain from the videos that you watch are entirely your own, and that you have permission to take credit for those. I may be a stimulus, but I'm not responsible. And I also hope that for those of you out there who find value in these videos, I would appreciate it greatly if you can let me know in the comments what works, what doesn't, what you'd like to see more of perhaps, because it gives me a steer in the future. And also any form of engagement that you are kind enough to share with me, whether that's your viewing time and awareness, whether it's the interactions in the form of comments or likes or other things. It tells that machine that's between us, that algorithm that's between us, that there's value in these videos. And what I'm finding is that the more of that goes on, the more YouTube tends to promote these videos to people who are also likely to benefit from the same things. And I feel like we're at a point in time now where that is becoming ever more important, given the amount of changes we're going through as a species and all the things that are coming in. It would be nice to keep a corner of the internet free for something slightly more real. That's a subject for another video. So, as always, thank you for watching. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention, because your attention is the currency of your life, and I encourage you to spend it wisely. So I'll see you on the next one.